Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how I make my delicious homemade meatloaf, so make sure you stick around. To season the meatloaf, I'll be using black pepper, crushed red pepper, parsley flakes, seasoned all paprika, Worcestershire sauce, and garlic and herb salt-free seasoning. For the glaze, I'm going to use mustard, barbecue sauce, ketchup, and brown sugar. I'm also going to use an onion, bell pepper, garlic, eggs, bread, and milk. And for the star of the video, I'm using 80-20 ground beef. So first I'm going to start by breaking up 2 slices of bread in a bowl, and I'm going to add to this some milk. I'm going to sit this aside to allow the milk to soak up into the bread. So now I'm going to chop up my vegetables. As you can see, I'm just chopping these down kind of small. And from here, I'm going to saute them in my skillet. So this is optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you want to do this, you just want to heat your skillet on medium-high heat. Add in the onions, bell pepper, and then you want to add the garlic in like the last minute of sauteing. So you only want to saute the onions and the bell peppers until they are slightly translucent. So I like to mix my eggs separately before adding them to the ground beef. This just prevents me from having to do a lot of extra mixing of the ground beef. I don't like my ground beef to be really cold because I find that it makes the meat tougher to mix. So I did take this out about 15 to 20 minutes before combining my ingredients. And as you can see, I've broken it up and I'm adding in the seasonings. And to this, I'm gonna add the vegetables. Now, when you add your vegetables, make sure they are not hot. So after you saute them, if you saute them, you wanna place them in the refrigerator. So to this, I'm adding the eggs and some Worcestershire sauce. I'm not going overboard with it because Worcestershire sauce tends to take over the flavor of meatloaf if you add too much. And that's just in my opinion, so I don't like to add a lot. And so I've added in the bread and milk mixture, and I'm just mixing this up really well. When you mix up your ground beef, you don't want to overdo it, but you do want to make sure that you get those flavors mixed into the ground beef. So I'm going to be using my casserole dish to bake my meatloaf, and I'm just going to drop all of this meat mixture down into the casserole dish, and I'm just going to shape this into the shape of a loaf. So to shape this is really easy. You just press in those sides just till you form it into the shape that you want it to be. Your loaf shape does not have to be perfect.
Oh my, my man, you made a permanent home in my head.
And from here, I'm gonna place this inside of my oven, which is set for 375 degrees. So now let's work on the glaze. I'm using my favorite barbecue sauce. Make sure you use your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm going to use ketchup, mustard, and some brown sugar. You can double the ingredients for the glaze if you want more glaze on your meatloaf. I didn't make a ton of glaze. I feel like I made just enough at this point, but I did go back and make more glaze. So you might want to double the measurements for the glaze. So here's my meatloaf at the 45-minute mark. I like to go in with a spoon and with a baster and just to remove some of the fat and the grease from the casserole dish. Presentation is everything for me. So yeah, I'm just trying to clean it up here. You don't have to do this, but you can do it if you want to, or if you like to transfer your meatloaf to a separate dish, you could do that. Pour the glaze on top of the meatloaf, and you just want to spread that around just like this. And we're going to put this back into the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And for the last 5 minutes of that time, make sure you turn your oven on broil to allow the glaze to caramelize. This is what my meatloaf looks like now that it's done. When you make your meatloaf, if you have a meat thermometer, I do recommend that you use it just to check the internal temperature to make sure that your meatloaf is fully cooked. So as you can see here, the juices are just seeping all out of the meatloaf. Make sure you let this rest before you cut into it. We don't want to lose that good flavor, okay? So let this rest for about 10 minutes or so. So now I'm gonna garnish this with some parsley, and once my meatloaf is ready to cut, I'm gonna cut it here and let you take a look at the inside of this meatloaf. The flavor of this meatloaf, the texture and the juiciness was all on point. It was spot on. It was really, really good. I've made meatloaf many different ways. This happens to be one of my favorite ways to make meatloaf. So I really hope that you guys will try this recipe. This was so good. At this point here, I was running to my refrigerator to grab me 2 slices of bread because I was good to go at this point here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next one.